Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Chris Whelan here from Chris Whelan Coaching, delivering better business and organizational outcomes. Now, I want to talk to you today about leadership. Essentially, it is the thing that drives organizations, drives business forward, and I'm going to talk to you about why. More particularly, I want to talk to you about the top 20 leadership mistakes that I see leaders in organizations, business owners making. And I'll talk to you about them over a period of time. This is the first of those talks about leadership mistakes. Now, let's start off by what is leadership, right? In my mind, I'll use the definition given to us by John Maxwell. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, right? Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But here's the thing, leadership isn't just about authority. It's about how you inspire, how you guide, how you shape the success of your teams and shape the success of organizations. And why does it matter? Well, because the mistakes that I'll share today don't just slow down organizations. They don't just slow down businesses. They cost money. They cost real money. They cost talent. People typically don't work for organizations. They work for people within organizations. So, if that happens, it costs you opportunities and people leave. So the whole organization then slows down. And in my experience, whether in business, whether in the public sector, those mistakes are actually surprisingly common. And then, I guess, we'll cover this, but my call to action, if you like, my injunction to you, if you did a business, if you did a team, or even if you actually want to do this in your family, in your local community, in your church, in your sports organization, avoiding these mistakes will make you far more effective and get the outcomes that you want far, far more quickly. So leadership mistake number one, to me, is a lack of vision, right? Because that's, to some extent, that is the role, not necessarily the only role, but that's the role of a leader, is to set that vision, to articulate it, to make sure people know where you're going. And it's almost certainly the leader's number one job is to be able to articulate the vision that inspires people, that enrolls them to join the movement, if you like. And without it, people become disengaged. They don't quite know where they're going, and then progress stalls. So that, as I say, for me, a lack of vision is a major, major problem. And I've seen many people who are in leadership positions not leading through not articulating a proper vision. Now, vision for me isn't just words on a website or words up on a wall somewhere or a plaque in an office. It has to be something that you live and breathe on a daily basis, every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, something that genuinely pulls people forward. People don't, as I say, go and work for companies, they work for individuals. And when those individuals are seen to be lacking vision, why work for them? Now, I happen to be a futurist, right? So I tend to think longer term. And the issue between short-term and long-term thinking is quite important, because too often people in leadership positions confuse goals for vision. Right? They think, well, hang on, a 3-year plan is a strategy. In my mind, a 3-year plan is a strategy typically. A vision is something much, much bigger. It goes way beyond what you do as the organization. If you're in business, you need to make profit. Absolutely, no problem with it. But that's not your vision. Your vision might be to, if I think about creating a better world, it might be to eradicate poverty. It might be to eradicate harm to animals. If you in the cosmetics industry back in the day, I know there were people doing that. It's setting stuff which is way beyond their narrow confines of their organization. If you're in the education space, it might be to actually create a far better New Zealand, not just for not just doing the things that your organization does, but creating a totally transformed society. So that's long-term thinking. And it's a difference between saying we want to increase revenue by 25% and saying we're going to lead the market in sustainable energy solutions, as an example, right? That second one, that's a vision. The first one, well, it's tactical. And the vision is transformational. That makes a big difference. So what's the consequences then of having no vision? Now, I think hopefully you've picked up on it. I've kind of touched on it already. Depending on what your worldview is, you might have heard this saying, without vision, my people perish, right? Without vision, businesses get caught up in the weeds. They react instead of leading. They lose their best people because the best people actually want to be inspired. And they want to be part of something bigger than just hitting the next quarterly target. So those consequences, losing people, not achieving the actual goals of the organization anyway, because you've lost the people, and not really knowing where you're going, not really having a true north, a guiding light, a north star, is really problematic. But here's what I know. There are ways to fix it, right? And great leaders consistently reinforce their vision. They articulate it, but they don't do it once. They articulate it, they talk about it. They talk about it in every single meeting. That might not be hammering out the company vision. That's not what I'm suggesting. But they link daily tasks to the bigger picture. They ensure that everyone knows not just what they're doing, but very importantly, why they're doing it. And most importantly, leaders embody that vision. They live that vision. It's not just something that they're not talking heads. They're not just something that they set and then leave it for someone else to do. They live what that vision means, because it's something that you demonstrate with every decision, with every action, with every conversation. We've all heard the term "well done" is better than "well said." And when it comes to vision, as I say, perhaps the biggest mistake, or the first of the mistakes of leadership, lack of vision. When people don't live it out, that's kind of false as well. So, as a number one mistake, lack of vision. If you're leading a business, if you're leading a team, if you're leading your family, if you're leading an organization, whether it be a sports thing or something in your local community, the most important question I think you should be asking yourself is, where are we going? Right? Where are we going? Because if that's not clear, nothing else really matters. If this resonates with you, please give me a shout. You can grab some time in my diary. There's a link below in the description. Grab some time. Let's have a chat about how this fits in with your organization. Because, as I said right up front, leadership is about influence and nothing more, nothing less. Quoting John Maxwell, if you want to change things for the better, if you want to have a positive influence, then we should have a chat. All the best. Bye-bye.